Welcome to the NFN Radio News Podcast, brought to you by NotFakeNews.biz. I'm Bob Gatty, editor and publisher of Not Fake News. Hey, we have a special announcement for you guys today. We're really proud to make this announcement. My old boss, former New Jersey Governor Jim Florio, will co-host our new Tempo in the Times podcast, which is sort of a sister podcast to NFN Radio News. Tempo in the Times explores a collision of popular culture with news, politics, and business. It was created by myself and my friend and former colleague in Washington, D.C., Scott Ramminger. I worked for Jim Florio as Chief of Staff and Press Secretary from 1976 to 1978, when he was a member of Congress from New Jersey. Scott and I worked together for many years in Washington. We began Tempo in the Times to help bring perspective to current developments and provide a platform for dialogue that we hope will help reduce the divisions that beset our country today. Tempo in the Times streams every Friday with guests from the worlds of politics, the arts, technology, and business. And the plan is for Governor Florio to be a guest host with us for every other episode. As co-host of our podcast, we believe Governor Florio's experience, credibility, vast political knowledge, and sharp perspective will enable Tempo in the Times to achieve our objectives. I'm really thrilled to be working closely with him again after all these years. Now, Florio was a recent interview guest on Tempo in the Times when he observed that many problems affecting the nation today actually provide opportunities. Climate change and the need to reduce the country's reliance on fossil fuel is just one example. That's why the first episode, April 9, with Governor Florio as co-host, will feature Madeline, or Maddie, Erbish, head of the Government Affairs and Policy Initiative for New Jersey at Ørsted, which is the global leader in offshore wind. Erbish will discuss the opportunity that harnessing wind energy offers the nation. President Joe Biden in late March announced his administration will make developing wind energy off the Atlantic coast a major priority. Just as such innovations like podcasts are providing new ways to communicate ideas, we need innovative policies to address long-standing problems, Florio said. I look forward to sharing and hearing ideas. Now, Florio was New Jersey governor from 1990 to 1993 after serving 8 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. He's an ardent environmentalist and sponsored the legislation that created the federal Superfund, which forces polluters to pay for the damage they cause. He now practices law in New Jersey. Now, I met Florio while I was covering politics as United Press International's bureau chief at the State House in Trenton, New Jersey. Florio then served in the New Jersey State Assembly. I later established an editorial services firm that covered the federal government for numerous industry magazines and provided communications assistance to trade organizations. In 2016, I created the Not Fake News blog, which provides political commentary, and, of course, the NFN Radio News podcast, this podcast, and now with Ramminger, the Tempo in the Times podcast. I'm also the author of Hijacked Nation, Donald Trump's Attack on America's Greatness, published in 2020. And another new book on politics, also from the pages of Not Fake News, is in the works. Now, Scott Ramminger began his career as a newspaper reporter and held senior of public affairs and marketing positions at several business trade organizations. A longtime musician and writer, Ramminger has released 5 records, all of which received critical acclaim. His 2017 CD, Do What Your Heart Says To, held the top position on the Roots Music Report R&B album chart for several years. Scott performs primarily around the South and Mid-Atlantic as solo guitar vocal act as a singer and sax man with his band, Scott Ramminger and the Temporary Condition, and as a saxophonist in other bands. He's received several awards for his songwriting. For more information about the podcast Tempo in the Times, please visit tempointhetimes.com.